Everybody, JayC here with another live stream, Wednesday live stream. Welcome everybody who is here. Let's just take a quick look. Oh, it looks like we got Tony C's. That's back at 5 o'clock, so I don't know if he's still in the house or not. Kyle's in the house. The Krang Rebellion. Trakobi. Welcome everybody. So, continuing to tweak things here. Hopefully the video quality as well as the sound quality in tonight's live stream will be better than previous live streams. Again, trying to tweak things as we go along. The Prophet 924 is in the house. Blake's in the house. What's up? Michael, what's up, everybody? So if you're not familiar with the Wednesday live streams, what I kind of want to do, and I mean, we veer off topic a little bit here and there, but kind of keep it to talking about entertainment stuff, things like the latest episode of WandaVision, which aired last Friday. So there will be some spoilers when we start talking about that. Also, the new Zack Snyder Justice League trailer, that's the movie coming to HBO Max, dropped this past Sunday on Valentine's Day. So I thought we'd take a look at that and then kind of discuss that as well. And then, wherever things take us, there's some news about new DC Comics doing some new comics, digital comics, based on the Michael Keaton Batman and Christopher Reeve Superman. So kind of picking up those characters' story and telling. So it'll be interesting. We can kind of talk about that a little bit. Maybe talk about how maybe that will end up fitting into the actual DCU and what have you. Jack Has, what's up, man? Articulated Doom. Mark Ross, what's up? Pick, I'm not even going to try and do your whole name, but what's up, man? Glad you're able to join today. No, it's not my birthday, Blake. That's in September, but thanks for thinking of me. My head was getting cold. It's a little cold in here. Not Texas cold, but it's pretty cold around these parts. We're getting some snow. It's supposed to be getting snow in late tonight and throughout tomorrow, so. It's not my. Where'd that come from? It's not my birthday, guys. I mean, birthday presents, if you want to send birthday presents, those are always welcome, but birthday's not until September. I'm old enough as it is. I don't need to be older. Jerry says he was right about Vision went out of the dome. We should have made a bet. Yeah, I wasn't thinking he was gonna breach the dome until the final episode, but he did get out of there, at least for a minute. Jack asks, how many more episodes of WandaVision left? Well, that's not totally known. The general thought is there's 9 episodes total, but I don't know. And we'll talk about that a little bit. How long the final episodes are going to be. There's rumors flying around the net, which really aren't based on anything factual, but I do suspect we will start to see at least some of the remaining episodes be longer than 30 minutes. But before we get into WandaVision, let's start off with the Justice League, and we're going to take a look at the trailer in case you haven't seen it, or even if you have, we'll get a refresher here. But I just wanted, to go on and show that, and we'll talk about that first, and then we'll jump into WandaVision for the second half of the live stream. But let's head over and. Hey, thanks for watching today's video. Sorry about that. We're not done yet. Let's take a look at the trailer.
I'm in the dark. dream. Almost like a premonition. That there's an attack coming.
My lord, this one will fall.
I need warriors. I'm building an alliance to defend ourselves.
How do you know your team's strong enough? If you can't bring down the charging bull, then don't wave the red cape at it.
You were sent here for a reason. And even if it takes you the rest of your life, find out what that reason is.
He said the age of heroes would never come again.
It will. It has to. We live in a society where honor is a distant memory. Isn't that right? Batman. Batman.
All right, so that was the trailer that dropped this weekend, and overall, I thought the trailer was pretty good. I don't know if this is really going to be that much better of a movie, but if I hadn't seen the original Justice League movie and this was like my first exposure to it, I'd be pretty excited. And part of it's just the music. I mean, just the music kind of grips you and the visuals and stuff. So just the trailer alone, and again, I'm not saying that means the movie is going to be so much better than the original movie or what have you, but just the trailer alone, I think shows improvement. Now, and I was talking with folks on Facebook about this. The thing, I don't know whether the movie is going to be, this updated version is going to be good, better, or what have you, but I still, and I've talked about this before, for me, it's really hard to kind of get excited because the rest of the DCU has kind of moved on from this. This is, to me, is almost like it's a what if. This is what if, and while everything else has kind of moved on. I mean, why would I care to get invested in Ben Affleck Batman again if he's really never going to don the cape and cowl again? Why would I care about Henry Cavill as Superman again if he's really never going to be Superman? I mean, I don't, as far as Cavill, I guess it's possible he might return, but it seems like it's pretty much up in the air. So that's where I kind of come down on it, is like the DCU, unless they're going to reset and begin again from this point, I just still find myself thinking, really, what's the point here? Even if it's good, and honestly, if I end up walking away from this movie and being like, oh my God, this was so much better than the original, what's next? And then, we're not going to get any more. I'm probably going to be even more disappointed than if I just walked away and said, what, this really isn't all that much better than the original movie, so I don't see the point. So I don't know. That's kind of where I stand, but Oscar says, I hope they don't go too far into the nightmare scenes. I kind of feel like that's really, as far as extended content that we didn't see before, that's really where we're going to see probably the most new. That probably has the greatest chance of giving us looks at Darkseid and where they could really kind of expand out on, in my view. So I actually feel like that is going to play a much more significant role in this movie. And whether that's good or bad, I don't know. But I do kind of suspect those Batman dream sequences are going to play a larger role. And I thought it, when you at the end there where Batman's walking up on Joker, you can see like Cyborg is behind him. So that's kind of interesting that it looks like other members of the Justice League are now in this kind of dream world. Ninja Cat, what's up? Any word on that McFarlane Violator? Nothing more than just that image of the big giant Cheeto version that Todd released. Action figure expert, what's up, man? Kyle says Ben Affleck will be in the Flash. Yeah, I mean, I've heard. I don't know if that's been 100% confirmed, but being they're doing some type of flashback or flashpoint, Michael Keaton Batman's supposed to be in that one as well. So, but still, I feel like they're not going to be really going forward with Ben Affleck as Batman. We're never probably going to see that, Batman versus Deathstroke like was teased at the end of the original Justice League movie. So Prophet, seeing Green Lantern in this, just the beginning sequence. I don't know. I mean, we saw a Green Lantern technically in the original release, but whether we see a Green Lantern play any kind of more significant role, that's another big question I have. Obviously we're going to see characters like the Joker and Darkseid in this movie that we didn't see in the original cut. But are they really going to have any significance? Are they going to make any actual impact on the story, or is it just kind of things that they've thrown in, managed to kind of squeeze in just for, the excitement appeal? I don't know, but I'm curious to know if like Jared Leto's Joker is actually going to have a significant point in this movie or what have you. And I assume that the way, while there's going to be things added and maybe little touch-ups here and there and tweaks, the overall story is still essentially going to be the same. They're going to end up taking on, the main bad guy at the end of the movie, and where Superman comes in and basically saves the day in just a couple seconds. So Michael says they can still have Justice League fight Darkseid in a future movie, but can they if they're not going to bring back the majority of the actors from this movie? I mean, yes, they can recast, but then it's kind of like a whole different thing. So, it definitely doesn't look like the actor who plays Cyborg's going to be returning, because he's been in a whole big dispute with Warner Brothers and stuff. So I don't think he's going to be coming back. And, Flash, Wonder Woman, and Aquaman, I guess, are sticking around, but pretty much everyone else seems to have been cut. So Kyle says he just hopes we get the McFarlane Toys Snyder cut figures. Well, I'm pretty sure those will be coming. I'm hoping we get some type of official announcement here in the near future now that the trailer's dropped. Still nothing as of today, but there's still a couple more days left in the week. So I'm hoping that official announcement, I would think, has got to be coming pretty soon here, being the movie comes out next month. And speaking of DC, it was just announced today that J.J. Abrams' production company is supposedly working on a new, darker version of Constantine for HBO Max. No idea if they're going to be, if it's going to be all new cast, or they're going to use the same actor that's been playing Constantine originally in his own series and then in the CW stuff. But looks like we're going to be getting another shot at Constantine. Ninja Knight, if McFarlane does Snyder cut figures, I'd buy them all. Wonky scale and quality aside. Kyle says, hopefully McFarlane is able to capture Henry Cavill's likeness. Yeah, I mean, well, we saw the teaser I guess we haven't really seen the full figure yet, but they're doing that Witcher figure of Henry Cavill from the Netflix series, and we saw kind of a side view of that. And it looked, I mean, based on that one image, it definitely looked kind of like Henry Cavill. So if they can do it with The Witcher, I'm sure they can do it with Superman. Jerry says he got Wonder Woman with gold armor for $9, so one down. All right, well, I guess we'll move on to WandaVision. But just to sum up my thoughts on Justice League, I'm definitely interested in checking it out. I mean, I don't. Would I go and subscribe to HBO Max just for that movie? Probably not. But being I already have HBO Max, I definitely will be checking it out when it premieres and kind of looking forward to it. So, I mean, I want to be excited for DC movies, just like I am for Marvel movies. I love both properties, so to me, it's not about like a Marvel versus DC thing. I want them both to be great. So I've been fairly disappointed in DC movies as of late, but I'm always hopeful that we'll start to see some cool stuff from Warner Brothers and such. All right, so let's get into WandaVision and talk about Friday's episode and then possibly what's down the pike. So first of all, let's get out. I saw some of you mentioning it. So this rumor started flying around. I think this past weekend that the last 3 episodes of WandaVision were each going to be 1 hour long. Now that's not based on anything. Whatever site, and I had never even heard of the site before, but I guess, people started passing it around and everything. But from what I understand, that site simply just based that report that they made on a couple of assumptions. So back in January, Feige was doing interviews and he mentioned that the WandaVision content was going to total roughly about 6 hours worth. And obviously, we just got done with episode 6. Each episode so far had been a half hour, and that meant that so far we had 3 hours worth of content, which meant if we're going to have 9, we've got to have 3 more hours. So that would, and the thought was that there's only 9 episodes. There's only been 9 episodes listed so far for the show. That's not a guarantee there's only 9, but as of right now, we only know of 9 episodes. So the thought being, if there's only 3 episodes left, they've got to be longer than a half hour. Now, why the person who made this report thought that meant that each episode had to be exactly an hour, like they couldn't like this week's episode could be maybe, 40 minutes long and then, build up. I don't know. There could be an infinite number of combinations, and I would think that probably the last episode would be an hour, but I'm not so sure that every episode would be an hour, or even longer than an hour. Now today there was a trailer that dropped from Netflix, and we can actually, while I'm talking to you guys, let me see if I can find it. We'll look at it. But today, a trailer from Netflix dropped. Every month they put out a trailer showing all the shows that are going to be on Disney Plus for that month. So they put one out today for March. Now, obviously, Falcon and the Winter Soldier was featured in this video because, as it was announced at the Super Bowl, that show's going to premiere on the 19th of March. But they had a lot, the trailer showed focused a lot on WandaVision. Now, if there were only 3 episodes of WandaVision left, then that stands to reason that, or I should say, if there's only 3 episodes of WandaVision left, that would make only the last episode airing in February, because there's still, including this coming Friday, there's 2 Fridays left in February. So it seems like, I mean, this trailer just seemed like had a lot of WandaVision in it for only being 1 episode in March. And in the trailer, it even says episodes, not episode. Now, that could just be bad wording on their part. I don't know. But let's take a look at it, and then we'll talk a little bit more about it.
People need something to get behind.
Oh, yeah, I can see it working.
So what's our plan? So no plan.
That's one way to do it.
And let's just get out there and have fun. I have everything under control.
You and the dragon are coming with me.
My sword here says we're not. Let's go.
So see, it indicated March was going to see more than 1 episode of WandaVision. Now, again, maybe it's just bad wording, so I'm not going to sit here and say definitely. But when I watched that, it made me think that maybe there's actually going to be 10 episodes of WandaVision. And I've even heard there's a listing on IMDb for a 10th episode. Now, some people think that's just there's also a making of series that is going to be debuting, similar to what they did with The Mandalorian, for the series. So some people think that's like the 10th episode. Now, I don't know. It's got a totally different name, so it would be weird if that was actually listed as a 10th episode for WandaVision, but I won't say that's impossible either. But to me, it made me thought, when I saw this trailer today, it made me think that, maybe there's actually 10 episodes to this week's episode. And the other thing that makes me question about like these 1-hour episodes is we are basically a day away from the next episode of WandaVision, and there's been no official indication from anybody at Disney, Marvel, or what have you, indicating that this week's episode is going to be longer than the regular episodes. Maybe it'll go over a couple minutes or something, but if there was going to be an hour-long episode this week, I think they would have promoted that in one of their trailers or stuff that they do throughout the week. So the fact there's been no mention of an hour-long episode this week makes me really think that there's not going to be an hour-long episode this week. So what I'm thinking, maybe, and again, this is just speculation, this isn't a news report, this is just my own speculation, but I'm thinking maybe there's actually 10 episodes, and the next 2 episodes, which will take us through the end of February, will be 30 minutes long, and then episode 9 will be an hour long, and episode 10 would be an hour long. And if they did that, that would take us up to the Friday, right? The Friday before the premiere, that following Friday would then be the premiere of Falcon and the Winter Soldier. That way you wouldn't have really any break between Marvel programming. We go from WandaVision straight into Falcon and the Winter Soldier. And that to me kind of makes sense as if they did that. Now, some people suggest, again, going back to that making of show, which does premiere on that Friday, in between the WandaVision and the Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Some people are like, well, that's the show they're putting in there. But I could see, and that's possible, but I could see them, having that coincide with the final episode of WandaVision. So you could watch that and then watch the making of. So, again, all this speculation, but I really don't think this week's episode is going to be an hour, simply because I think they would have promoted that as such by this time. Prophet says there's a rumor circulating of a 10th bonus episode. Well, again, I think that's based on some of the actors from the show have a 10th episode listed for WandaVision. But again, some people seem to think that might be referring to this making of WandaVision show that they announced here this past week. So I don't know. But yeah, I definitely think there's a possibility there could be a 10th episode And maybe the final episode is an hour and a half. If there's not a 10th episode, then it's possible maybe the final episode is 2 hours. Maybe they're going to make it like a movie. Maybe episode 9 would be 2 hours. So there's definitely a multiple of ways they could divide up 9 hours worth of content, but not necessarily have the remaining 3 episodes be an hour long. Neil, entertainment professionals are not saying 3 more. Somebody posted a rumor based on what I just said about Feige's, saying there was 9 hours worth of content, and then they did some math and then decided it was 3 hours. But I've seen nobody with any credibility or even saying, somebody at Disney told me, it's not even like somebody went, I've got a source within Disney who let me know that the last 3 episodes are going to be 1 hour. They literally just said, well, Feige said there's 9 hours worth of content. There's 3 hours remaining. And so that must mean that the last 3 episodes are 1 hour long each. That's from everything I've seen. That's literally how this info of 1 hour long episodes for the last 3 episodes happened. And of course, it makes for a great rumor. It makes for a great headline. It gets you clicks. It gets you what have you. So, Oscar asks, is WandaVision getting a second season? That's a good question. I mean, I would suspect if they want to, meaning has the show done well enough to deserve a second season? I could certainly see them doing that. But I'm not sure how many of these shows were made for multiple seasons. Because they may have only intended this show to be 1 season. I don't think there's been any indication of that from any official sources one way or the other, but I could definitely see them maybe having only planned this particular show to be 1 season long. So, but I mean, that's a good question. Is there going to be a second season of WandaVision? I don't know. We pretty much know that whatever happens in this series is going to continue on into the movies, specifically the second Doctor Strange movie, and probably there'll be some effects of this series that will impact the Spider-Man 3 movie as well. So we know it's not like, whatever happens at the end of the season will then just pick up. If there is a second season, it wouldn't pick up in the second season. It's going to pick up in the movie. So, but that still doesn't mean that there couldn't be a second season. I don't know, it's got to be able to plan all this stuff out, all these different, it had to be hard enough just with the movies themselves, but now with all these TV shows and everything that they're planning on doing for Disney Plus that tie in directly to the movies, trying to map each one of these things out has got to be a pain in the ass. They've done a brilliant job with it so far, I think, but I really, as they start doing more and more of these TV shows, I really wonder how well they're going to keep everything straight. And especially with like COVID, delaying all these movies, I'm still not clear what the impact is of, Black Widow. By this point, if things had gone as planned, by this point, we would have already seen the Black Widow movie, we would have already seen the Eternals movie, and we would have already seen the Shang-Chi movie. So the fact that we haven't even seen those movies yet, I really don't know how that impacts any of these Disney Plus shows and the overall MCU puzzle. So Prophet doesn't think there'll be a second season. Neil says, am I willing to place a bet that the Marvel Legends reveals planned for Friday will drop tomorrow? No, I wouldn't bet. However, I will say that the last several, Fan Fridays and First Mondays have not leaked out early. So I think they quit sending out images to retailers and such early. And I think that's where the leaks were coming from. So I won't swear to it, but I actually probably would lean more to them not leaking out early than they will, just because they've seemed to have kind of tightened that up and stopped that from happening. Michael says Loki and What If have been renewed for second seasons. I haven't seen that, but I mean, we're still waiting to find out whether Black Widow is going to release straight to theater only, or whether it's going to be a, in theater and on Disney Plus type thing. Despite what I've been hearing them saying, I still think that eventually Black Widow is going to have to see a joint release, because I don't see theaters reopening in any real way until at the earliest the end of this year, and I don't see how they could postpone these movies for another year. So I really feel like whether they want to or not, they're going to have to do essentially a double release where, theaters that are open can show it, but otherwise, your option is to watch it on Disney Plus at a premium. You have to pay like the $20 to rent it for a day, type thing. But I really feel that's what's going to end up happening with Black Widow, and possibly, Eternals and Shang-Chi as well. But they still seem to be, doing everything they can to wait it out. So we'll just have to see on that. All right, so let's get into last week's episode. So definitely, it wasn't quite like it didn't really reveal anything terribly new, but it was kind of an interesting episode. Nothing, we didn't see who was behind, if there is somebody behind, manipulating Wanda. We didn't, we saw Quicksilver, but still a big mystery about him. A lot of people think he's Mephisto disguised as Quicksilver. I'm not really biting into that one. Definitely Quicksilver knows more than, the run-of-the-mill person in the town. But I think somebody else sent Quicksilver in there to kind of keep tabs on Wanda. And I think it's probably somebody more likely to be an ally than an enemy. My going theory is maybe somebody like Doctor Strange. And my main reason for that, I mean, obviously, he's got, he saw the kids when they were talking, basically to the audience through the camera. He picked up on that. And, at one point he called them, hell spawns, which obviously the kids, I mean, it's pretty clear now that who the kids are. They're the two young Avenger characters who I actually had not, because I was very familiar with the original story of Wanda's kids and how they were essentially, part of Master Pandemonium, which were really part of Mephisto's, soul. But I hadn't realized that those two kids from Young Avengers, Speed and Wakan, is that how you pronounce it? Were actually said to be in the comics, essentially those kids reincarnated again. So I wasn't aware of that, but they apparently, I did some reading up because I was like watching the episode, and it was like the one kid's Halloween costume. It was like, at first I was like, man, that kind of looks like Doctor Strange. And then I was like, no. And then I was like, but I've seen that. And then I was like, and then they started developing powers, and then I'm like, yeah, there's got to be something more here. So I looked it up, and, obviously it's pretty clear who those two kids are. Are they going to do a Young Avengers series at some point? Seems like they're building up all the characters for that, but we'll have to see. But getting back to Quicksilver, I really don't think he's Mephisto. First of all, if it was Mephisto just taking a form, why wouldn't he take the form of her actual real brother from Age of Ultron? Why would he take the form of a Quicksilver from a different universe? So that right there, says to me it's not actually Mephisto in disguise. Now, could Mephisto be controlling somebody or sent him in there? Possibly. But the main reason why I don't think he's like working for Mephisto or what have you is because in the episode, he's like sitting there trying to find out from Wanda how she created all of this, the whole town and everything. And I would think if Mephisto is in there and he's been kind of pulling Wanda's strings and kind of manipulating her, he would know how she did it. So I don't see why he would have sent her in there to try and find out how she created all the stuff. Doctor Strange, however, who maybe became aware of what was happening and wanted to send in as familiar a face as he couldn't bring back somebody from the dead, but he was able to pluck somebody out of an alternate universe and then send him in to kind of keep tabs on her and try and gather intel on what exactly is going on. So that's why I don't think it's Quicksilver. But he does, again, there is something more to him. He's not just a random character. The kids picked up on it. He obviously, maybe knows if it is Mephisto who's pulling the strings and everything. He probably knows that. He knows the kids are part of, Mephisto's essence. He, when he kind of jumped up on Wanda in the episode, he kind of looked like a vampire demon type thing. So I don't know. But I really don't think he's Mephisto or even working for Mephisto. I think he is working for somebody else. Kyle says he thought that was Doctor Strange's costume too. Well, the cape looks like Doctor Strange, but then he's got that headband, and Strange has never worn a headband, so... Jerry says, didn't Wanda see him as Quicksilver as the dead version? That was confusing. Or she just got reminded of her real brother. I think it was more she got reminded, just like she did with Vision. But I don't know. I mean, I guess you could maybe think that they have just they couldn't get the actor from Age of Ultron back, and so they just took this actor and recast him. But I if they were gonna recast as to be the same Age of Ultron Quicksilver, I think they would have gotten somebody totally new. I don't think they would have gotten the actor playing Quicksilver from the X-Men universe. That's just way too confusing. So I don't think this is supposed to be the Age of Ultron Quicksilver, that they just now have a different actor playing him. Jerry says, I think the kids will grow up to be super teens. Well, I think they'll grow as old as they are in the comics, which I think they're pretty close to that now. So I haven't read a lot of new Avengers stuff or Young Avengers stuff, so I don't know how old they are exactly in the comics, but I would suspect. I mean, and I'm pretty sure these are probably going to be the actors they get to play those characters. So I doubt they're going to get much older in the series. Neil says some are saying possibly Blackheart. Well, Blackheart's Mephisto's son. I don't know why you'd bring Blackheart in and not Mephisto. So now, I don't think I don't think Wanda's doing everything on her own. I do think there's somebody manipulating her. It's leaning more and more towards Mephisto in my view, but I won't sit here and say I definitely think it's Mephisto at this point. But I don't think Mephisto's the only bad guy at play here either, because then we've got Hayward, and no, I don't think Hayward is the one responsible for bringing Wanda, having Wanda create this universe. I think what Hayward's, sole goal is Vision. I think he was trying to rebuild Vision, and Wanda caught wind of it and basically broke in and took his body away because she knew what they were doing, and that screwed up Hayward's plans for Vision, and so Hayward came basically trying to get the Vision back. Is Hayward Ultron in disguise? I can't say there's really been any clues dropped in the series that would necessarily suggest that. Obviously, Hayward does not like superpowered people, but I think really the only going theory of Hayward being Ultron is there was a story in the one of the cartoons, one of the Avengers cartoons, where a similar type character was Ultron in disguise. So I definitely think it's a possibility, and I definitely think Hayward's a bad guy, maybe working for somebody else if he's not like Ultron in disguise. But but um but that's definitely going to be interesting to see play out. And I still think at the end of the day, as far as Vision goes, he'll end up being this emotionless type synthesoid, maybe all white like we saw in the comics, and then over time he'll regain his humanity. But I think at the probably like at the end of the series, Vision's going to end up being emotionless. Stickman thinks Hayward is a Skrull. I don't think so. The Skrulls seem to be good guys right now. I mean, they're working with Nick Fury, so, and I guess Captain Marvel. So I don't know. I don't know if the Skrulls are going to really play a part in this or not. Martin, I mean, if you got a specific question about G.I. Joe Classified, feel free to shoot it, but we kind of talked about G.I. Joe Classified in Sunday's live stream. I kind of like right now I'm trying to do live streams on Wednesdays and Sundays. So around this time, 7:30 p.m. Eastern time. So Wednesday is really geared more towards talking about the entertainment stuff that's been going on, during the week. And then Sunday's live stream is really more for talking action figures and things like that. Which obviously this week we're gonna have a lot to talk about with Friday. As I told you guys a couple different times, this Friday there was going to be Marvel Legend reveals. Hasbro just the other day officially announced the live stream on Friday, so we definitely are going to be getting some reveals. I know a few of them, which I will tell you will be a confirmation of one of the rumored waves I've told you guys about already, with a little tweak to it, which I can't tell you. I was asked not to say, so we got to wait till Friday. But I will tell you that it's something that I think will make you guys happy. And I know it'll make sense to you when you see it on Friday. But I think you guys will be very happy with it. Maybe like, well, I did give you kind of a hint. It's going to be, and if it's going to be a wave that I've told you guys about, it, I mean, think about what is the most likely next wave that they're going to officially announce. And if you know what they've already shown and such, it should be pretty easy to figure out. And I still don't know what the Build-A-Figures are. So I'm going to be surprised to find out what the Build-A-Figure for this particular wave is, just as much as you guys come Friday. John Estrada says, chronologically, WandaVision is set before Far From Home. I think they probably more likely coincide. Obviously, I think WandaVision began technically before Far From Home, because WandaVision technically began just a short while after Avengers Endgame. But my guess is by the end of WandaVision, what the events that happened in Far From Home will have happened already. So I feel like it's kind of more of their running coinciding with one another. WandaVision, I think, is playing out over a longer period of time than Far From Home. So, but yes, at least the beginning of WandaVision definitely took place before the events of Far From Home. And just to jump back real quick to the Marvel Legends stuff. So I know essentially one thing that they're going to be revealing, but I suspect there's going to be a number of other things that they're going to reveal or at least tease on Friday. They generally do quite a few reveals, keeping in mind that if this was a normal year right now, we would be knee deep in Toy Fair coverage. Toy Fair usually happens right around Valentine's Day. So probably last weekend would have been the big Hasbro event that they hold every year at Toy Fair, where they show off all their stuff for the first part of the year. So I don't think Hasbro's going to do a big reveal event like that this year. I think they're just going to slowly, reveal things on a week-to-week basis, jumping around from their various brands. Last week was Power Rangers. The week before that was Star Wars. This week is Marvel, and so I think that's what they'll basically do for this first part of the year. Now, as we get closer to, like, say, July, when San Diego Comic-Con, which I think will be canceled this year, then they may end up doing like another PulseCon type thing like they did last year, where they do a much bigger reveal. But I feel like for now they're just going to kind of do these weekly things. And because I can tell you there's a lot of Marvel stuff out there, we'll probably see more Marvel live streams than say like G.I. Joe, which I don't think they have as much product to reveal for. So I'm not saying like next week is going to be another Marvel, but I'm saying, we could easily see, maybe in a particular month, we could see 2 Marvel live streams or what have you. So, but I feel like that's what they're going to be doing. I can't say that 100%, but that's my feeling, that they're not going to do like a big one event where they show off a bunch of stuff like they normally would do with Toy Fair. They're just going to kind of piece it out on a regular basis. And what another, not only just because there is no Toy Fair this year, but also because I think things are backing up at the ports. A lot of the product for all these companies is getting delayed because it's getting backed up, in the ports. And so stuff's going to be coming out slower, trickling out, like the House of X wave has started to see some limited release, but it's not, it's not like you can go in any store and find that wave right now, and it may be a little while before you can. Even the Stiltman wave, which has been out for a little while, still I wouldn't say has come out in great numbers. And I think in large part that's just because the stuff is getting backed up in the ports, again, due to COVID and such. So because things are coming out slower, they may need to, slow down their reveals a bit to kind of coincide when stuff is actually going to see release. So, but I do suspect there'll be a number of things that they show this week. So I'm pretty excited for it. Prophet says, please do PulseCon again. Well, if San Diego is canceled this year, and again, while there's been no official announcement on that, I do highly suspect nobody is really saying that we're going to be back to normal come July. So I think the earliest we're going to get back to any kind of real normalcy is at the end of the year. And so I really don't expect San Diego to happen this year, physical San Diego Comic-Con. So I would totally expect Hasbro to do something then. That's when they sell their, they don't have exclusives at Toy Fair, so they don't have anything to sell, but, at San Diego, they do have exclusives. And so just like they did last year, they'll do it online and everything. So I highly suspect there'll be a PulseCon 2 this year. Martin, do I think the first Spider-Man from 2002 will be in the last episode of WandaVision? I won't say it's impossible, but no, I would be pretty surprised if we saw either Tobey Maguire or Andrew Garfield. Assuming if they are in the movie, which Tom Holland indicates are not, but assuming that he's wrong or he's lying or what have you, then I don't think we would get any kind of indication of that until the actual movie comes out. I think they'll try and keep that as much as a secret as long as possible, basically. Neil says Walmarts are getting doused in Stiltman waves. Well, maybe your Walmart is, but mine aren't. I mean, Amazon has gotten the Stiltman wave in, and they've got some of them in, but, and I think even like Big Bad Toy Store has shipped some of their pre-orders, so. Prophet says WandaVision will get two broke girls, Darcy. Yeah, that was my prediction of how Darcy will look next week. She'll look like the waitress from Two Broke Girls, which was the sitcom she was in. You know, knowing how this show loves sitcoms, I don't see how they could pass up that opportunity to make her look like her character from that sitcom. NK Solid says my Walmart is god awful. I ordered the NECA Batarang on eBay just to avoid the trouble. Did you see today they just announced or showed off the Nightwing weapons? So I guess that's the next Batman prop replica that they're doing. Coco, when's the Select Hulk coming? I'd have to go back and look. Go to like Big Bad Toy Store and look it up and see what date they have listed. I forget off the top of my head. Prophet says his Walmart has lots of Game Reverse caps. Surprisingly, I have never seen that figure. The Venom. Oh, actually, you're right. The Game Reverse cap. Yeah, that one I see everywhere. But I've never seen the Venomized Walmart exclusive cap. Not that I'm that excited to get it, but I'm surprised that I've not seen that figure at all in my store. Next WandaVision will be based on Modern Family and The Office. I wasn't entirely clear last week's episode what sitcom that was supposed to be based on. Full House, maybe? I wasn't, like the week before was clearly Family Ties, but Neil, can I confirm my Bring on the Bad Guys wave predictions was accurate? Yeah. No, well, no more so than I could before. So, I mean, I wouldn't have told it to you if I didn't think it was pretty accurate. But Malcolm in the Middle, everybody's saying. Prophet. This past week's episode is Malcolm in the Middle. Was that the Chris Rock sitcom? I used to watch sitcoms all the time and like as a kid, like in the 80s and even early 90s. But I really don't watch a lot of sitcoms anymore. I don't know why. I just kind of in the 90s I just lost interest in sitcoms. So I really watch very few sitcoms these days. I'm really surprised they haven't done a either a Wonder Years variation or a Married with Children's variation. MK Solid says Viggo Mortensen could be the new Magneto. Abnegler says it's the one with Bryan Cranston. Tony, no, Chris Rock was not the Cosby Show. No, Chris Rock had a sitcom where like he would talk to people and then but the show was about essentially himself as a kid. Neil says he'd really like to know the Bring On the Bad Guy wave Build-A-Figure. You and me both, man. Everyone hates Chris. That's the one I was thinking about, all figures considered. Thousand Wolf, Three's Company. Now see, I would know Three's Company. Quantum Leap's not a sitcom. Hey, Redneck Trekker. Am I enjoying the winter wonderland in my neck of the woods? Yeah. We haven't. We keep getting, like, each week, they start off the week by saying we're going to get, like, all this snow, like 12 inches of snow. And then as the week goes on, it gets lower and lower and lower. And then by the time it actually comes, we're lucky if we get, like, an inch. So the last 2 weeks has been that way. And this week is same thing. It started out, we were, like, going to get 8 to 12 inches. Now I think we're down to 4 to 3 inches we're supposed to get tomorrow. So we'll see what we actually get, but it keeps, like, one day it's like in the 40s and the next day the high is in the low 30s or 20s. So the temperature keeps jumping up and down as well. Kyle says G.I. Joe Real American Hero was a sitcom about a loving family who had to deal with a challenging workforce known as Cobra. All figures considered, what do I have on my display behind me? There's a lot of different things on that shelf behind me. Some DC figures, Masters of the Universe Origins, some Marvel figures, some Star Wars, SH Figure Arts. The top row is all via motorcycles with figures. And then on the very top, like the top, is all Star Wars stuff. Thousand Wolves. I've been hearing horror stories about Texas. I hope you haven't lost your power, man, or your heat. It's crazy what's seemingly been going on down there, so hopefully you stay safe and warm. MK Solid says he misses the lazy days of watching Xena and Walker Texas Ranger on USA. I heard they're looking to bring Walker Texas Ranger back, which without Chuck Norris, I don't see how you do it, but Henry G, I live just outside Washington, D.C. So yes, basically the Northeast. Well, a little below the North. John. Yeah, I definitely looking forward to checking out the Mortal Kombat trailer. I don't know how good the movie's going to be, but Thousand Wolves, X-Men 1-Up, yay or nay? Are you talking about the machine behind me, or you're talking about the upcoming one with the side scroller like the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle game there? If you're talking about, so this one behind me is pretty good. It's got online play, even though I haven't used the online option, just because every time I do, I get my ass kicked. But but I am definitely very excited for the side scroller that plays like the Turtles, very similar to the Turtle game. And there's an Avengers one in that cabinet as well. So that one, we're still waiting for them to announce, price and release dates and all that on that one. But that one, I definitely, I don't know where I'm gonna put it, but I definitely plan on getting that one. Prophet says he lost power for 2 days, but it's back now. I'm glad to hear it's back. Abnugler. Oh, the new Texas Walker show's already on. I didn't know that. Is it any good? Kyle, do I play the Turtles game or just use it for display? No, I play it. I've I play the art. There's two games on there. There's the arcade version, and I play that one usually. But there's the Turtles in Time one, which was really a console game, and I play that less, but yeah, I play it. I I like I like the I kind of like the Capcom games better, just because when I just need like a stress relief, I can just go play a quick game. Whereas like you start playing the Turtle game, and you want to play it all the way through, and so it ends up taking sucking up a lot more time. But I've definitely played it all the way through. Of course, it's not that difficult since you don't have to actually put quarters in. You just hit the button, so you can get killed as many times as you want and still keep going. So that makes it a little easier than when you used to have to, have enough quarters in the arcade. And then the other difficulty with this game is I'll be playing it and my cat will come along and start walking on the top, and she'll activate one of the other players, but then of course she doesn't play the player, so then I'm stuck with this dead player while in the middle of my game. Kyle says Hawaii 50 is, you mean was, because the show's no longer on anymore, but of the TV remakes. Yeah, I liked Hawaii 50. I even like the Magnum, which is actually takes place in the same Magnum PI universe. I don't think it's as good as the original Magnum, but I don't think it's bad. But yeah, Hawaii 50 I thought was a pretty good remake. Jerry, I kind of went over my main points on WandaVision, unless, you guys have some more. I'm kind of following your guys' lead here, so. But I definitely don't think, just to recap on WandaVision, I don't think Quicksilver is Mephisto or even working for Mephisto. I think Hayward's a bad guy, whether he's Ultron, I don't know. Oh, and this week, we're going to see Monica's friend, who I think might be Reed Richards or Victor Von Doom. The Blue Marvel guy, I guess, is another pretty popular theory of who she was referring to. But I'm thinking maybe Reed Richards or Victor Von Doom, the aerospace engineer that's going to help her get back into the hex. So we'll see. It looks like we should get that reveal this coming episode. So it'll be interesting to see what they do there. And then obviously the other thing that we kind of saw, which I think we all knew in the previous episode, when Monica's scans came back blank, that she was starting to get her powers or such. I think maybe she even already had her powers, because she didn't seem terribly shocked when Darcy showed her the scans. So, but whether she knew or not, she definitely seems to have been now have gotten her superpowers, and whether she actually ends up using them in the show or not remains to be seen. Thousand Wolves. Anyone get the Spawn Kickstarter yet? I believe those have all been backed up at the ports. maybe a select few people have gotten them, but Coco, Doom is Wanda's man. And I don't think we've seen, Elizabeth Olsen in an interview teased that we were going to have a Luke Skywalker moment, comparing Luke's appearance in the season finale of The Mandalorian season 2. She said we were going to have a similar type moment in this series, and I don't think we've had that yet. So I'm still hard to, unless she was referring to like Quicksilver. I guess she could have maybe been referring to Quicksilver with that, but I don't know. Blake, no Agatha. Well, Agnes was in the episode. Whether she's Agatha Harkins or not, I don't know. Thousand Wolves. Law and Order SVU is sick, bro. I don't know how we got on Law and Order, but actually I haven't watched. I used to watch Law and Order, all the Law and Order shows all the time, but I haven't watched any. Well, I think SVU is the only one that's left on, but I haven't watched that one in a long time. Redneck Trucker thinks it'll be Dr. Eric Selvig. Yeah, I don't think he's an space engineer. And that would be more Darcy's guy, not Monica's. And yeah, I still think there's a good chance Reed might show up. I don't know who's going to play him, but Blake, she was in the car. She was the witch that Vision dropped down on in the car and then woke up temporarily, and she asked him, told him he was dead and called him an Avenger, and Vision didn't know what the Avengers were. So obviously Wanda's wiped his memory of everything that happened before this show started. So he doesn't even know he's an Avenger. So but she was in the car. She was the witch in the car towards the end of the episode. And I'm pretty sure there was a Spider-Man Halloween decoration in one of the yards as Vision was dropping down to the car. You could see it in the background. I'm almost sure of it. And then there was a decoration in the city square that I thought looked a lot like Venom. Those were probably just coincidences or little Easter eggs that really had no meaning. And then the other one that I've seen a lot of people pick up on is when they had the flashback to Wanda and Quicksilver trick or treating as kids. They looked like they were dressed up as Black Widow and Nick Fury. Hey Jack, I have never played. Oh wait, I thought you asked who my Fortnite. Who is my favorite Marvel character? It's a toss up between Captain America and U.S. Agent. All right, Somebody said Thousand Wolves had a great theory, but I missed it. So Doctor Nation, do I think WandaVision show will stick the landing? I'm not sure what you mean there. Wait a minute. The 90s pacing of regular cable TV sitcoms and shows like, oh, I thought you were calling Law and Order a sitcom. I was like, wait a minute. Most shows today are done, and this really started back in the 90s, but most shows today, they're done as like where it's a continuing story throughout the season, whereas used to be things tended to be more just one-off episodes. And I, in general, like the theme of the story, but when it's a story that runs through through the season, I think one of the best shows that kind of did a good balance of that type of thing was Star Trek Deep Space Nine, which, up until Deep Space Nine, most of the Star Trek The Next Generation and Star Trek the original series were mostly just one-off episodes. There was little things that kind of, I mean, obviously it all, there were references to things in previous episodes, but for the most part, the actual episodes were standalones. But I thought with Deep Space Nine, which is really when that whole theme of having a major story play throughout the season and such kind of began, was around the time that Deep Space Nine started. So I thought they did a really good job with that, especially the first season, maybe not as much, but in the later seasons, when they started doing the Dominion War and things like that, I thought they did a really good job with that kind of thing. And they even, Star Trek, if you think about it, they even were kind of the first franchise to kind of incorporate both things that happened in movies with TV series. Because you'd have Worf that was on Deep Space Nine, but then he would pop up in the Star Trek movies, and they would make some brief references of what was happening and such, and then vice versa. The Enterprise got destroyed in Generations, and then Worf came over to Deep Space Nine, and there were references to that and all that kind of stuff. So Star Trek really was kind of the first universe, kind of created its own universe. Really, in my view, is the first show to really kind of do that, even before, long before the MCU. That's why I hated the first season of Star Trek Discovery, because I felt like they basically shit all over all the continuity that had come before it, and were just kind of started out doing their, because that show took place before the original series of Star Trek. It was, they were putting things in the show that were way too advanced for that time period, and all kinds of things. And that's why I really hated that first season of Discovery. They wised up and basically shot the crew into the future, so now that they can kind of do their own thing. And so I think the show has potential to be good now, but MK Solid, I don't think there's anything solid about Viggo Morrison showing up as Magneto. I haven't even seen that, but if there's something out there, I would take that as a complete rumor. Sorry, I missed whatever we're talking about with Brotherhood, so repeat the question. If Night Prophet, stay warm and be safe yourself, man. DCAU was the first shared universe in television. What is... I'm not familiar with that abbreviation. What is DCAU? Neil says, if you ask me, as soon as Star Trek decided it was okay to use the F word in Picard, it jumped the shark. Yeah, they do. I hate when they do stuff like that. I mean, I don't have a problem with cussing, but when you're just throwing it in there just to be like hip or cool or whatever, I agree. What's up, Almighty? Okay, I don't know how we got into the David Hasselhoff Nick Fury movie. John, DC animated universe. Which, well, okay, if you're talking about like Batman the animated series, Superman the animated series, and Justice League, that's certainly, you're right, is a connecting universe. But Star Trek was out there long before those shows, so Coco is all into Shuma Gorath, which honestly, I my only familiarity with that character is from the Marvel versus Capcom games. Language, Blake. Neil says Next Generation is still great and watchable. All the I can go back and watch the original series, the 60s original series. I still enjoy those. Yeah, the special effects are a little corny at times, but I still like it. But yeah, I can watch Next Generation. I can watch Deep Space Nine over and over. Even Voyager and Enterprise. And I think Discovery has improved. I mean, I think each season of Discovery has gotten better. It's still not anywhere near my favorite Star Trek, but I'm looking forward to seeing now that they're actually in the future. They're established. They've got future. They're right uniforms on. They're not wearing old uniforms anymore, and all that. I'm ready to see what they do with the show. I want to see what the Enterprise of this time period looks like. Things like that. So while you know and I thought, well, I think season 3 of Discovery was the best season so far. It was a little boring. I didn't like how they ended it that much, but again, I'm definitely looking forward to seeing what they do in the next season. And same thing with Picard. I wasn't super impressed with Picard, but there was something I liked the part with Data and stuff in Picard, but but again, I'm interested to see what they do for a second season. Noob says, "Do I think Joker will die in the nightmare season of Zack Snyder's Justice League?" I don't know. I mean, I'm not. I have no idea why he's even there. So I don't know. The dream sequence stuff, other than it was supposed to be kind of a premonition of the coming of Darkseid, really made very little sense to me in the original cuts of the movie. So we'll see if they improve that with this new version. But what they're gonna do with that, I really don't know. So, and are we gonna see Lex Luthor in this series? In this movie, I mean, he was in the after cut, the after credit scene in the original cut. But will he actually play? Being it was Darkseid that he seemed to be communicating with Lex Luthor in the Batman versus Superman movie. So is he gonna have a role? I don't know. I haven't been following any of the rumors for that movie, so I don't know. I'm not like I've heard some people say that the Justice League movie, this new version, is going to be like 4 hours long, and I don't think I've seen anything officially say what the runtime on the movie is, so I don't know if that's true or not. John Estrada. Oh, so you guys are thinking that the Luke Skywalker moment is going to be a Magneto? Maybe. I even thought, how I was saying how somebody other than Mephisto is sent Quicksilver in. Another thought that crossed my mind is that maybe Magneto sent Quicksilver in, you know. Hey Everett, yeah, we talked about Justice League at the start of the video or the live stream. MK Saw, I think Steppenwolf looks awesome. His crazy armor is interesting and it looks like a demon. It definitely looks, at least from what I saw in the trailer, it definitely looks better than what it did in the original cut. Redneck Trekker says everything after Enterprise is terrible. Well, yeah, I mean that the only thing after Enterprise as far as TV shows has been the Discovery and Picard, so I don't disagree with it there. Now, as far as like the J.J. Abrams Star Trek movies, I like the first one. I thought they did a really good job with the first one, but then it went downhill with the second and the third one. CM Brock says, I've seen something that the actual runtime is 3 hours and 50 minutes. Yeah, see, I've seen that. I've seen people saying that it's like almost 4 hours long, but I don't know. I haven't seen anything official say that. So I don't, I mean, it may be, I have no idea. I mean, a 4 hour long, I mean, I don't even, what was the runtime on the original movie? It was less than 2 hours, wasn't it? Kyle says Luke Skywalker cameo will be Luke Skywalker. Star Wars and Marvel now are one universe. Actually, somebody, I think it was Feige, who came out recently and said there are no Star Wars Marvel crossover plans. However, I could see them doing it one day, a Predator and Marvel crossover. I think we'll definitely see that in the comic books. Today Marvel announced, these variant covers of Predator versus Marvel characters. So I think they'll definitely do a story in the comics of, Predators in the Marvel universe. But being that Disney owns, we could one day see, Predators in a Marvel crossover. MK Solid. For me, no, because it's just not different enough from the previous Wonder Womans that we've gotten. But whether it's actually a better figure or not, I don't know. I don't have it, and I haven't even like watched any reviews on it. John says he recommends watching the Justice League Dark Apocalypse War for a much better DC movie involving Darkseid and post-apocalyptic Earth. I've watched that. That was a good movie. The animated movie, yeah, that was a good one. Most of the DC animated movies generally are pretty good. Coco, I don't think I've seen the comic where Indiana Jones and Han Solo and Chewie meet. What's up, X? John, Predator and Aliens usually cross over with DC characters, not Marvels. Well, that used to be the case, but Disney now owns, when they bought 20th Century Fox, they now own Aliens and Predator. So you're now going to see Marvel superheroes go up against Predators and maybe Aliens too. I don't know, but Marvel, Disney, which owns Marvel, now owns Predator and Alien. So the days of DC Batman versus Predator comics are over, but I definitely think Marvel versus Predator and such is in the cards. Collectors aren't that interested in DC since movies aren't good. Well, if you're talking about the action figures, I would disagree. I think there's still plenty of interest in DC figures. I think I think better movies would help sales with younger audiences, non-collectors and stuff, but I think there's plenty of adult action figure collectors out there who are still very much into DC. And at least if Todd McFarlane is to believed, very much so into Batman. MK Solid, Spider-Man versus Predator. Well, there's a cover of that. If you go to Marvelous News, if you haven't seen it already, it's a variant cover, so it's not an actual comic book series yet. But there's a Amazing Spider-Man variant cover that shows Spider-Man fighting a Predator. Tony C. So we could see a Princess Predator movie from Disney. Anything's possible. Matthew says he'd love a Hasbro Predator. Well, who knows? Maybe there'll be a Predator Marvel crossover action figure line one day. I wouldn't rule it out. I mean, NECA right now is the master toy license holder for Predator, obviously, but that could certainly change down the road if Hasbro was interested. I don't know how interested Hasbro would be in a Predator license, but and even if they didn't become the master toy license holder for Predator, which I really don't think Hasbro would be that interested in becoming the master toy license holder, but I could definitely see if they ended up doing a Marvel versus Predator thing in the comics and such, I could maybe see Hasbro doing a crossover line, based on that at some point. MK Solid says Hank McCoy is a biologist. Yes. I don't think Hank McCoy is Monica's friend. If that's what you guys are talking about. There's an Yeah, the Aliens, right? Yeah, Aliens TV series, if I remember correctly, that was announced, a few months ago. Tony C, are Turtle Power Ranger figures coming out? I don't know. There's those retail listings, which, they're not entirely clear what they are, so I can't say, and that's all I know about are those listings, so it seems like it's a possibility, but we'll have to wait and see. I don't collect I'm not into Power Rangers, but I would be pretty, if they did figures based on those designs from the crossover series, I would be interested in picking those up. They're just kind of unique and cool enough that I, even though I'm not really into Power Rangers personally, I would be interested in something like that. All right, well, we're going on the 9 o'clock hour, so I think we will wrap it up here. But once again, thanks to everybody who joined. I always enjoy, talking about the latest happenings. Looking forward to this week's episode. I don't think it's going to be an hour long, but I think there should be maybe some surprises in Friday's episode. So, and And then, of course, Friday's a big day. We got new episode of WandaVision. We've got the Hasbro live stream with the Marvel Legends. We've got who knows what else will happen between now and Friday. I plan on doing a regular news video on Friday to talk about all the Marvel Legends stuff and whatever else comes out between now and then. And there's actually, a few things already out there to talk about in the news video. So, but definitely look forward to that on Friday, and then Sunday we will do another. I'll do another live stream where, we'll do more of the one-on-one talking about the Marvel Legends and such. So, but thanks for everybody for joining in tonight. I appreciate it as always. Stay safe out there, guys. Stay warm out there, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Hit the bell notification when it becomes a regular video. I don't know. Can you hit the bell notification when it's a live stream? I don't know, but you know the drill. And so until next time, guys. Wait, I'll catch you later.
Hey, thanks for watching today's video, and be sure to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and hit that bell notification so alerted every time I upload a new video. And be sure to head over to the Toy News International and Marvelous News message boards communities. It's a great place to talk toys and win cool contests like $100 store credits to Big Bad Toy Store. And remember, action figures are great.